Welcome to The Healthy Body. Dr. Alex here. Today we're diving into a fascinating but often misunderstood aspect of human intimacy, the sexual refractory period. Have you ever noticed how, after an orgasm, your body sometimes feels unwilling or even unable to go again? You might feel overly sensitive, tired, or simply unresponsive. This pause after climax is not just in your head. It's a natural and deeply ingrained process in human biology. In today's video, we'll explore exactly what the refractory period is, why it happens, how long it lasts, how it differs among people and genders, and what science says about possibly shortening it. We'll also touch on the role of hormones, brain chemistry, and even certain medications. By the end, you'll have a much clearer understanding of what's happening inside your body, and why it's perfectly normal. Before we begin, if you enjoy practical, science-backed insights that help you better understand your body and improve your health, I'd love for you to subscribe to The Healthy Body. This way, you'll always have access to trusted information designed to support your energy, vitality, and overall well-being. Now let's begin. The sexual response cycle. To understand the refractory period, we first need to look at what happens during arousal and orgasm. Decades ago, researchers William Masters and Virginia Johnson developed a model known as the sexual response cycle. It describes the stages of human sexual activity. The first stage is excitement. Your heart rate begins to climb, your breathing quickens, and blood flows more intensely into the genitals. Muscles begin to tighten. In men, this often means an erection. In women, it means swelling and lubrication. Next comes the plateau phase. This is the build-up, the heightening tension before orgasm. For men, the testicles often draw upward closer to the body. For women, the clitoris may retreat slightly under the protective clitoral hood. Then comes orgasm. This is the peak, the moment of release. Muscles contract rhythmically, blood pressure surges, and in men the pelvic floor muscles trigger ejaculation, the release of semen through a series of pulses. Finally, we enter the resolution stage. Here the body gradually returns to its baseline. Heart rate and blood pressure decline, muscles relax and sensitivity changes. This is the gateway to what we call the refractory period. What is the refractory period? The refractory period is the recovery time after orgasm, when the body becomes temporarily unresponsive to further sexual stimulation. For men, this usually means they cannot achieve another erection or orgasm immediately, regardless of how much they may want to. It's worth noting an important distinction here. Orgasm and ejaculation are not identical. Orgasm is largely governed by pathways in the brain, the pleasure and release sensation. Ejaculation, on the other hand, is coordinated by centers in the spinal cord and involves two phases: emission, semen collecting in the urethra, and expulsion, muscular contractions pushing semen out of the body. They usually occur together, but not always. Once ejaculation happens, the refractory period almost always begins. Absolute versus relative refractory periods. Researchers describe the refractory period in two parts. The first is the absolute refractory period. During this phase, it doesn't matter what kind of stimulation you try. The body will not respond. It's essentially locked out. The second is the relative refractory period. Here, some very strong or novel stimulation might reignite arousal, but it's much harder to achieve. This is why some men may take hours before being able to perform again, while others may recover much sooner. What about women? Most studies on the refractory period focus on men, but women are not excluded from this discussion. The clitoris, in fact, is developmentally similar to the penis. It shares the same type of erectile tissue and nerve endings. After orgasm, many women report a sharp increase in sensitivity that makes further stimulation uncomfortable. In one study of college-aged women, 96% reported increased clitoral sensitivity immediately after orgasm. Many did not want any further stimulation right away. So while women may not experience a refractory period in exactly the same way men do, their bodies also require a reset, a recovery phase, before feeling ready again. How long does it last? The length of the refractory period varies dramatically. For younger men, it can be as short as a few minutes. For older men, it often stretches much longer. sometimes several hours or even over a full day. In studies of healthy young men, the average ranged between 11 minutes and 1 hour. But men who experience premature ejaculation often report longer refractory periods, sometimes lasting up to 5 hours. Why would nature design this? Evolutionary theories. There are several theories. One explanation is sperm replenishment. On average, the male body produces about 12.5 million sperm per hour. That's impressive, but it still takes time to restore an optimal supply. Pausing between sessions may ensure the body is ready for potential conception. Another theory is semen displacement. If intercourse happens again too quickly, thrusting may dislodge semen from the initial ejaculation, lowering the chances of conception. By enforcing a pause, the body may help protect reproductive success. Finally, there's the protection from fatigue theory. Sexual activity demands energy. A refractory period may prevent exhaustion or physical strain from prolonged activity, acting as the body's built-in safeguard. Hormones and brain chemistry. So what controls the refractory period? For years, prolactin, a hormone released after orgasm, was thought to be the main driver. Early studies suggested men capable of multiple orgasms had lower prolactin levels, but follow-up research hasn't consistently supported that theory. More recently, attention has shifted to neurotransmitters. Dopamine, which fuels motivation and reward, appears to shorten the refractory period. Serotonin, on the other hand, tends to lengthen it. This explains why certain antidepressants that increase serotonin often reduce sexual desire or delay arousal. In other words, the brain plays as much of a role as the body. Can the refractory period be shortened? This is a question many people ask. Some small studies have investigated whether medications like sildenafil, better known as Viagra, might help. In one study from the year 2000, men who took sildenafil had a refractory period as short as 2 minutes, compared to 10 minutes without it. A follow-up in 2003 found a mild but real reduction in recovery time with lower doses. Other reports suggest that certain practices, like experiencing orgasm without ejaculation, may reduce or eliminate the refractory period. However, this is difficult to achieve consistently, and for many, it creates more stress than benefit. Novelty also plays a role. Some people report shorter refractory periods when using a new environment, toys, or new forms of stimulation. This reinforces the idea that the brain and psychological factors are key players. Multiple orgasms in men. Is it possible for men to experience multiple orgasms? The answer is yes, but it's rare. Studies suggest that around 8 to 9% of men in their 20s report having multiple orgasms. Across the general male population, that drops to 3 to 7%. When it does occur, it usually happens in two ways. Some men ejaculate once and then experience several dry orgasms afterward, while others experience multiple orgasms with ejaculation only at the end. Either way, these are exceptions rather than the rule. Putting it all together. So what's the takeaway? Every person's refractory period is unique. For some it's short. For others it's long. It often lengthens with age. While science has explored theories and tested a few medications, there's no magic trick that works universally. But understanding this natural cycle can remove unnecessary worry or self-criticism. Your body isn't broken, it's designed this way for good reason. And if you're finding this information valuable, don't forget to subscribe to The Healthy Body. By subscribing, you'll ensure you never miss our upcoming discussions on topics that support your health, energy, and overall quality of life. Final thoughts. The sexual refractory period is not a flaw. It's a protective mechanism, one that balances biology, psychology, and even evolutionary strategy. By appreciating how it works, you can better respect your body's signals, reduce frustration, and focus on enjoying intimacy in a healthier, more informed way. Remember, sexual health is just one part of overall well-being. The more we understand about how our bodies function, the more empowered we are to live with vitality and confidence. Thank you for joining me today. If this video gave you clarity or comfort, I encourage you to subscribe to The Healthy Body. It's the best way to stay connected to practical, science-based insights that can improve your health and well-being at every stage of life. Until next time, Take good care of yourself.